filming the show would have been fun as fuck.
So it wasn't actually very fun for me because I was alienated from the start from being from Middlesbrough.
Yes.
You know the rivalry between like Middlesbrough and Geordie.
Yes.
She's not a Geordie. She's from Middlesbrough. She might as well be from fucking Mars.
Yeah.
So I'm already alienated. I'm already the youngest. I'm this super confident girl going in. I've got a boyfriend. I end up getting with someone on the first night, getting my tits out in the hot tub, and just made an absolute fool of myself.
All right, what is up? We are back, and today we're talking shit with the open book. Not the open book, the open book. The open book, Holly Hagan-Blyth.
Yes, I'm married now.
How weird's that?
I've got to put my ring on. It's going to go mad.
Fuck it. He's just gone upstairs. He's gone, I went, ring off already. Holly Hagan-Blyth, how is it? Does it sound weird saying that?
Yeah, it does. It sounds strange, and I was really actually against changing my name for
a
very long time. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a feminist, and it really got to me because the changing of a woman's name, obviously you become the man's property, and that's how it's always kind of been. And I don't think a lot of people know that or kind of really look into it. It's just something that's done. So it really, really bothered me that I would be changing my name. Like, who's Holly Blythe? Who knows her? Nobody knows her. So then I was like, right, okay. And I spoke to Jacob about it for a long time, and it meant a lot to him. So I was like, right, I'll double barrel. But I think it sounds nice.
Do you have to spell it out when you say it?
And
do you forget?
Yeah, I do forget. And then my Facebook's still Holly Hagan, so I do need to change that.
Fuck Facebook. It's dead anyway, isn't it? It's dead here, Facebook
school.
anyway. So what's been going on? Like, what's happening in your life right now? Let's start here.
Well, I'm now a married woman, and we came back from the wedding, which we were over in Ibiza for like a month.
I'm going to Ibiza next week, actually.
Oh my God, I'm so
Actually,
jealous.
I've just said I can't believe I've just said that.
Wow.
Ibiza.
Ibiza?
It's not Ibiza and Shields, it's just Ibiza.
Ibiza.
Ibiza. You what? That's two?
Yeah.
So you came back from there.
We were there for about a month, and we were like, listen, we really need to do something, because we wanted to do something with fitness. Jacob had been qualified for a while. I'd been qualified for a while. And we were like, right, after the wedding's done, we'll come home and we will plan what we want to do. And we really wanted something that was super personal, super like intimate, where we could actually genuinely help people like one-on-one. And then it's fucking scary though, isn't it? Starting a business. But listen, starting a business.
It is because I think you've got to be comfortable with uncertainty.
Yes, but also not many people have 4.2 million people staring at them through a screen every
that
day.
is.
So I was thinking, like, I've kind of got a lot to prove, and if this doesn't do well, if it fails, I am going to be absolutely fucked.
So you've got, when people talk about fear of failure, you've got fear of failure, but
and embarrassment,
and in the public eye.
Yeah. And if I fuck up, like, I imagine in your early days of your career and whatever, you fuck up a few times. You do whatever.
Loads.
But not many people see that because you've got a small knit group that you can...
Well, you can fail in private as well, right? And that's, I think, what many people do is when some people are like, Paul, how do I deal with fear of failure? I want to start this business. I'm like, well, you're already failing by not
doing it.
But you're just doing it in private.
I agree.
What's been some of your strategies then for kind of overcoming that thing?
Honestly, like, I couldn't tell you one thing apart from I just kept listening to people saying you don't have to be perfect to start. And I was like, look, anything that we do, it's not going to be perfect. We don't have a proper website yet. We need to start somewhere. If we don't start, we'll never be great.
And you figure it out as you go, right?
Yeah, and I thought anything that we don't know, we can learn. And if we've got a small group of people, that's why I want to keep it small as well. If we contain it and we've got these people in the group, if we do something wrong, we can, apologise and move on and learn from it. Like, we can't be afraid of making mistakes. Because if we don't try, we are never going to do anything. So I was like, fuck it, let's just do it. If we fail, it's fine.
So was this your first business then?
So I had a business with my previous PT. So we went into business together. We had a really successful time. Like, we did really, really well. And he taught me everything that I know. And getting that passion from him, me joining his business, I kind of felt a little bit like an imposter.
Yes.
Because as much as I could say, oh yeah, I'm a business owner because I
Didn't
owned
feel
a
like your
percentage
thing.
of the business, I'd gone into his business that he'd created on his own and I just joined it. And it kind of felt like I was lying to myself, like, this isn't my business. I don't do the books. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Yes, I'm showing up face to face and I'm doing a bit of the marketing side of it, but am I a fraud? Because I don't feel like there's not really any levels I can kind of go to with it. And we ended up parting ways. It was all very amicable and just differences of, journeys we wanted to go on. And it was always his business. I was never meant to be there forever. And then I was like, right, that was in kind of October, November last year. And it's took us until August this year to actually really plan and get our heads down and be like, right, let's launch it. And I tell you, when we launched it, I was like, we're not going to get one person. I really didn't believe we were even going to get one person.
Isn't that mad?
It's crazy.
How much of a buzz is it when you get your first?
When the first one came in, I could have cried. I
Really?
could have cried.
Can you still remember the person?
Oh God, I've got the name on the.
Have you got a name?
Payments.
You do. I'd be like, you're my first ever client. Do you know what? This is mad. Back in, I feel really old saying this. In 2001, my first personal training class. I was like, how old were you then? Do you reckon?
I'm not good at maths, but I'm 30 now. So.
30 now, so you would have been.
Go on.
I'm terrible at maths as well.
Wait, was that 8, 9?
8 or 9.
8 or 9.
So my first personal training client was David Jason, you know, Del Boy of Only Fools and Horses.
No
Isn't
way.
That mad? And I lived in Harrogate. Isn't that mad?
That is crazy.
Mad. So
I like Harrogate.
I can tell that you are loving this self-employed. I can tell because you started talking twice as fast. Yeah. And that's what I'm like when I get excited about something, I start talking faster. So let's rewind a little bit to the old Geordie Shore days. How did that whole thing come about?
So I actually seen it in the newspaper. In the Gazette in Teesside. And there was a tiny little square, and it said casting for the Newcastle version of Geordie Shore, of Jersey Shore. Yeah. And I was like, well, there's no point in me applying for that. I'm not a Geordie. I'll never get on. And I thought, I'm just going to apply. So you went on Facebook, you'd filled in the little application. Yeah. And then they ask you loads of questions about yourself. What's your most embarrassing moment? What's your best asset? All of this. So I just completely sold myself, obviously. Yeah. Being 18 at the time, which was...
What were you doing then?
I was working in a call centre.
Working in a call centre?
Yeah, call centre Santander. I wasn't great at it, but it was, it paid my lifestyle at the moment. I was going out 6-7 times a week, like drinking all the time. I was like a full-on party girl.
Really? 6 or 7 times a week?
Oh yeah, and I was earning about $1,000 a month, and for an 18-year-old, that's a lot.
It is,
when you've got no outgoings, you're only paying a bit of lodge, like nothing. Yeah, it was great. So I applied. I went for the interviews. I went literally with 2 strips of material, just covering my nipples, like. Thought I was the bee's knees, like the actual dog's bollocks. Yeah. I was so confident. Walked at the interview, did it, came out, got in the car with my boyfriend, because I had a boyfriend at the time. Yeah. And he drove me home, and then I went to a couple of those, and they finally said, we need to do some filming with you. And I said, listen, I've taken too much time off from the call centre. Like, I'm going to get the sack. Yeah. I can't keep filming. They said, well, I need to know you're serious. I said, well, I need to know you're serious. And they went, let me call you back. I was like, okay. So they ring me back and they go, what we're about to tell you is confidential, but welcome aboard, you're on Geordie Shore. And I was just like, oh, brilliant, because we didn't know what it was. Yeah, we didn't know what it was going to be. Yeah. So I took 6 weeks off from the call centre, and I thought I was just going to go and get drunk in a house with some people for 6 weeks and go back to work.
Oh, you thought you were going to go back to work? Oh, shit.
I genuinely
the first bit, I was like, well, that's what happened, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So we went and got drunk for 6 weeks, but when we came out... They were like, you needed for press, you need to do this, and I had to actually go into work and hand my notice in. And that was a really scary time for us, because then I didn't realise I was going to be the most hated person on the show at that time, which was interesting.
So let's talk to me about this. So you were the most hated person on the show?
I would definitely 100%.
I mean, Sophie was on the front page of the Shields Gazette, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I was on the front page of the Middlesbrough Gazette.
So what was that time of your life like then? I mean, that would have been, filming the show would have been fun as fuck.
So it wasn't actually very fun for me, because I was alienated from the start from being from Middlesbrough.
Yes.
You know the rivalry between like Middlesbrough and Geordie.
Yes.
She's not a Geordie, she's from Middlesbrough, she might as well be from fucking Mars.
Yeah.
So I'm already alienated, I'm already the youngest, I'm this super confident girl going in, I've got a boyfriend, I end up getting with someone on the first night, getting my tits out in the hot tub, and just made an absolute fool of myself. And when we look back now, it would not be allowed. Cast of TV shows would not be allowed to get in the state that I was in that night. Yeah. I woke up the next morning. I'd never been sick of alcohol in my whole life.
Oh, really?
Throwing up. Like, I was really it was the first Jaeger bomb I'd ever had in the house.
Oh, shit.
That's how young I was.
Wow.
So, yeah, after that, knowing all of the stuff that I'd done, knowing that you didn't really understand it was going to be so public. but it was worldwide. It wasn't even just the UK. It was literally, I was getting slagged off in multiple languages. Like, it was, I'd click the translate button on Twitter and Facebook and things, and it's just like, oh my God. And there was loads of Facebook groups written about me.
Oh, fucking hell.
Holly Hagan is the biggest embarrassment to Teesside. When Holly Hagan washes up on Redcar Beach, because a whale had washed up and everyone was saying it was me because I was fat. When you try and breastfeed and realise you're Holly Hagan because everyone started a rumour I had no nipples.
Really? A rumour that you had no nipples?
Because when I got my tits out, the light was flashing against the water on the breast, so you just looked like pickled onions.
Oh, okay.
And it was absolutely horrendous.
And did you get any help with that, or?
Not at all.
Really?
Nothing. So all we had then was Facebook and Twitter. So I came off Facebook, but I did actually unearth some the Facebook page.
Did you have to keep Twitter?
We had to keep Twitter because that was our job. We had to promote this brilliant show that we were doing.
Was it like Holly G Shore?
Holly G Shore. Yeah, I've only just changed it like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
I've been Holly G Shore for 12 years. People think my last name's actually G Shore.
That's wild.
It's nice.
So you kept Twitter.
Yeah.
And you weren't. I'm just intrigued as to how someone that's 18 is supposed to fucking deal with that.
Well, they're not. How do you deal with it?
You're not equipped for that, eh?
Not equipped. We did have like psych chats and things like that, but it was they just didn't have a level of welfare that they do now. Yeah. But no, I really struggled. I didn't leave the house for about 2 years by myself.
Fucking hell.
My best friend Tom, who actually just walked me down the aisle, everywhere that I went, if I was going to Asda, if I needed to get my nails done. I didn't drive at the time, so he would get in a taxi with me. Yeah. He would come with me, sit with me, make sure I was all right, and then we'd go back home.
Fucking hell.
He was by my side for literally like 2 years.
Shit.
I know. Because people would physically say things you know what people are like from our way. They're not shy. No. So I would get hurled abuse. People would throw bottles at me. I've had shoes thrown at me in Primark. Like, it was...
No. Fucking hell.
I know. And at 18, it wasn't nice because you just think, do you know what? Yes, I did make a mistake. I did cheat on my boyfriend, whatever. But how many other people have done that?
18 years old?
18 years old.
With that on TV, drinking.
And I had to do it in front of the world, unfortunately.
How did your family react to all of this?
Oh, my God. I think the thing that hurt me most was how much it affected them. Because they had press knocking at the door, they had eggs thrown at the windows, their cars were vandalised.
Fucking
before
hell.
I had a car. Yeah. And my mum would be like in tears, and her daughter's splashed all over the front pages of the papers, and she's got to go to work. Like, can you imagine how embarrassing that is? Being like, that's my daughter. Yeah. And we didn't kind of speak about it for a long time. And I think we just kind of like tried to brush it under the carpet a little bit, but seeing how much it affected them, and I just felt a bit ashamed of how much like shame I'd brought to the family, and you know, it wasn't nice. Yeah.
Do you regret doing that?
Never.
Really?
The only thing
Talk to me about this then.
The only thing I regret is getting my tits out in the hot tub. That's the only thing, because it's just not a nice image. But everything else, I don't regret the cheating, because I needed to go through that to understand how wrong it was and how bad it made him feel. And, you know, we all need to go through these things sometimes to learn and understand. And I think we need to make more room for young people to make mistakes and learn from them. So I don't regret a single thing. I regret crying over as many boys as I did, but I couldn't really help it.
I mean, you've got to do that as well, right?
You've got to do that as well. You've got to go through all of them heartbreaks. And I think I can't regret it, because the amount of people who say to me now, I look at your whole journey, see where you've ended up now, like that whole full circle. Nobody would have put bets on Holly Hagan to be the first girl married out of Geordie Shore. That would not have ever been a bet.
Are you the first girl married out of Geordie?
First girl married.
Jesus.
And if anybody had put that bet on, they'd be millionaires, I'm telling you.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
I know. So, yeah, it just shows that it doesn't matter what you go through, doesn't matter how many times you fuck up, doesn't matter how many times you cry over boys, you can still live a really happy life.
I often think that the best parts of who you are right now were forged in those hardest times. 100%. The best parts were in the worst times. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's character building, and I think I was bullied all through school as well, so I think that builds your character as well. Had I have went into Geordie Shore and not experienced any of that, I wasn't being called anything I hadn't already been called before. So it was a little bit easier on me. I'd seen people go into that show. My ex, for example, he won't mind me saying this because he said it himself, but he'd always been told he was God's gift. And when he went in the show and started getting trolled and things like that, he really couldn't deal with it, and it really affected him mentally. So sometimes, I mean, builds character.
Yeah, and sometimes I think you get things that happen in life. It's what you need at the time. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It is what you need, and
you don't know it.
Nah,
you don't know why it's happening, but.
So were they the hardest times of this entire journey for you, or has it got worse?
I would say those times were pretty bad, and then because we were lacking money, we didn't have much money. Everyone thought we were millionaires just because we were on TV. I was doing like a lot of club appearances, and we were getting the girls and the people who weren't really very liked on the show, like me.
Wasn't it hard for you guys to get? I don't know who told me. It was either my manager Luke, who knows Vicky for like 12 years, or her that said for girls to get. It wasn't even in the podcast. It was in the car. She told me about this. It was hard for girls to get PR, right? Yeah, it was really, really hard. And was that how you're making money? So we were making money off just doing like club appearances. Yeah. So I would be at 18 years old, traveling up and down the country, sometimes for 10 days at a time. All of these clubs are expecting Geordie Shore. And they're expecting you to drink. So your energy's got to be really high. Got to be high. You've got to be drinking, even if there's no friends there. And the amount of people who would like touch you up in nightclubs as well. Like I'd do under 18s ones as well, and they'd all be trying to grab your bum and grab your boobs. Really? Girls would do it, guys would do it, everyone would do it. And I started dressing in like jeans and long tops so that people wouldn't want to touch me because they felt like they could because I was on Geordie Shore. Yeah, wow. Which was just, that wasn't nice. And I'd always put my bum against the wall so that when a boy tried to like put his arm around me, he couldn't slip it down because I'm pressing my bum against the wall. Fucking hell. These are the things I had to think of at 18. And also people don't know about this. They just see the fucking TV. And then if I kick off, they're getting paid to get pissed. They just think, why are you kicking off? You've done that on the show. You're being a prima donna or you're being a fucking, what do you guys get? You're being a drama queen. Drama queen, yeah. I mean, I am a bit of a drama queen, but if somebody's touching you up in a nightclub inappropriately, I don't think it's bad to say something about it. And these days, there's no way that it wouldn't you'd get away with that. No. Nah. So, how do you deal with that? Do you still get shit? I get the smallest amount of shit now. Yeah. I would say I used to get 99.9% hate, and now it's like 99.9% positive. Oh, sick. Which is really, really good. Yeah. And I think the odd comments that you do get, yes, it still affects you because you just like, you want to scream because they don't know you as a person. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know your journey. Yeah. But I just how are you dealing with that? Are you just ignoring it? Are you blocking it? Are you saying fuck you? I've got a very low tolerance for like blocking. Like, is it high tolerance? Low or high? I'll block anyone for anything. Even if someone tries to give me advice and I haven't asked for it, I'll block them. Not bothered. I love those ones. I hate them. Yeah. I hate them. I don't want to be given advice if I hadn't asked. Yeah, yeah. Unsolicited advice. Yes. Do you know what? Imagine those people. They must go around giving everyone advice as well. Everyone advice. I'm just like, I'm so confused. Like, no, that wouldn't work for me. And then I'm just like, I'm blocking you. Yeah. Don't like it. I like that. So it's an instant block. I get asked that quite a lot of the time. Like, what's the best way to deal with? Because I get a lot as well. What's the best way to deal with this? I'm like, I change my mind every day. Yeah. Sometimes I block them. Sometimes I say I love you too. Yeah. Sometimes I say I hope that made you feel better. Yeah. And sometimes I think straight up, that's not fucking okay, mate. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's not okay to say that. So fuck you. There's different ways to deal with it, isn't there? And there is. It depends on the context. I think I've just have to choose the tool that I think's best at the time. But if I'm tired, you fucking had it. Oh, if you come at me on a day that I'm tired, you're fucking getting it, mate. If I want an argument, I can kill them with kindness, or I can just completely go in. But you know what it's like? They'll be like, you're better than that. You should know better. And I'm like, absolutely not. Please don't. Do you know the people that say that are the ones that have never had it? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Would you deal with like that if you're getting? Would you deal with it different to me if you were getting someone telling to kill yourself every day? Every day. It's mad. It's mad. It is mad. So. Tell me about, because obviously we have a few mutual kind of mates, really, don't we? Yeah, well, we met at the IFS thing. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to touch on. My friend Darren's name is down here. How did that happen? So, because that's when my respect for you went through the fucking roof when you did that, because most people would have just blocked Darren. Yeah. They would have just blocked him, right? You didn't. No, well. So what happened? So I can't really remember how it all started, but we're way back in the day, probably you're talking around about 5 or 6 years ago now. I'd promoted like I think it was Skinny Coffee potentially, one of the shitty diet products. Or the tea that makes you shit your pants. Yeah, I mean I promoted them all. I'm quite open about it. But obviously I had kind of the whole fitness industry come at me after that, and it was really aggressive. It was really it was awful. Like I felt like I'd killed someone, and I didn't really realize the kind of depths to it until someone said to me, would you be okay with your future daughter buying products like this? And I went away and I kind of thought about it, and I was like, oh God, you're so right. Like I wouldn't want them to do that. And I didn't have the education at the time in fitness and nutrition.
And I just felt really bad. I was like, God, could I have potentially caused somebody to have an eating disorder because I've promoted these products? And that still to this day weighs really, really heavy on me. Yeah. And that's why I'm so kind of, if anyone's promoting fucking Herbalife or whatever, I don't stand for it. Like, I don't want to see it. We all know what we know now, and we know better. You don't have to
bleep that part out, Mark. I have to bleep that
part out. So all those diet products that include like the shakes and things like
meal
that.
replacements.
Meal replacements. Not fond of people promoting meal replacements. And because we all have the education now, it's out there. We've got.
I'm not really going to bleep it out, by the way.
Last thing for me. But you know what I mean? It's just we have the education now. We know that these products, the way we lose weight is a calorie deficit and live in a balanced fucking lifestyle. So anything else, you're spending your money for a load of crap, basically, in my opinion. So yeah, and now that we know, it's fine. But the way that Darren came about it was he messaged me and he wanted me to go on his podcast. And I was like, yeah, not a problem. Like, ask me what you want. Like, I'm really open and honest about the whole situation. It would be great to speak to you. I think this was in lockdown. And that podcast, honestly, like, it did me the world of good. And it put me on a platform where all of these people who had once seen me promote all of this crap in the past were then seeing me in a different light and really truly understanding why people promote those diet products. One, due to lack of education. Another, when you've got a load of work that just completely dries up and you've got bills to pay. I mean, what's more important to you? What are you going to think? If you can't put food on the table, your mum's boiler breaks or whatever, you've got no money coming in, you've got pressures coming from absolutely everywhere, and somebody's offering you $7,000 to promote a bloody tea that you've literally seen work, the pounds have dropped on the scales. So in your head, you're thinking, well...
You think it's the tea.
It's fucking worked. Yeah. So why are people getting angry about it? Because it worked, and I couldn't understand in my head at that time. Now I know it was water weight and shit. But I didn't know that at the time. I thought I'd lost fat. Yeah. And yeah, I went on his podcast and everyone just was reposting it, retweeting it, talking about it. And then I got asked to go on IFS after that to discuss it in more depth.
That's so cool. So would you say that incident really got you into the fitness thing, or were you kind of into it before then?
So I was already into it before then. So I'd been doing, in lockdown 1, I put myself through, I did the nutrition coaching course. I did the PN1, the precision nutrition.
Oh, shit. Guess what?
What?
I did that.
Did you do that?
Like 2005 or something. Hi, John Barardi. John Barardi still do it.
Yeah.
Aye. That's mad, isn't it?
So I did that. And do you know what? I felt like, you learn what you learn in that. But whatever I learned was on the job in real life health and fitness with Tyler. And he taught me everything I needed to know. But I got the qualification anyway, just to say that, you've got it.
Yeah.
And then when lockdown 2 came about, I was like, right, I'm going to do my exercise to music qualification because I wanted...
Guess what? I've done that.
You've done it as well? Stop. So you could do B-Step Vibes with me.
Yes. But like in 1999 or something, I used to work in Gosforth.
Yes.
And the challenge that I had, so I had to teach the whole exercise to music facing the mirror.
Yes.
Because when you do it the other way, you go the opposite feet in it. So I was terrible at it.
Do you know what? It's such a lost thing, like the actually exercising to the beat. Nobody does it anymore, and I love it. And my clients love it, and everyone on Full Fitness loves it. And it's literally, I would say, our best session of the week.
Really?
Everyone, it's like a girly thing, isn't it? And they love it. So I did that.
It's kind of like dancing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's like dancing. You can really get that high heart rate without having to do like burpees, chest to floor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people want to do that. I don't want to do
high
that.
Impact shit.
High impact, high energy, fun, super cool music. Like, everyone loves it. Yeah. So I did that qualification, passed, and then I think I'd just done the nutrition one as I'd done the podcast with Darren. But yeah, I was already really into it, and I was saying, I've made the mistakes that I have in the past. I can't change it. I can't turn the clock back.
Is this body thing's always been a challenge for you though, hasn't it?
Oh, massive. I've been called a fat slag since day one. Since being like literally 8 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
So, but would you say you've got your head around it now, or?
I would definitely say, I went through a lot with like eating disorders and things like that, and being in Geordie Shore, we would go in there would be no access to healthy food whatsoever. We'd be having kebabs all the time, drinking every night. We genuinely did drink every single night. That's not good for anyone for 6 weeks in like a big block, And then we'd come out of there and we'd always come out like half a stone heavier, naturally. It's like going on a bloody girls' holiday. So every time I'd come out, I'd have lost a little bit of weight. I'd go back in, put it all back on. And I was just like, how can I get control of what I'm doing? I was like, And that's when I turned to bulimia. And I had probably about a 4 or 5 year battle with bulimia. I didn't call it that because I was overweight. I thought people who were overweight couldn't have eating disorders. I didn't understand. Because
you always see images of really skinny where you
really
can see
skinny.
the ribs who have bulimia.
And I didn't ever call it that. I thought, how dare I say that it's bulimia when I'm not even anywhere close to being in a dangerously low weight. And even now, like, I still like cringe a little bit when I say it. I'm like, can I really class myself as that? But I did everything that includes. So yeah, it's a mental disorder. It's nothing to do with what you weigh. Yeah. And I only found out that actually the majority of people who suffer with bulimia are overweight.
Oh, shit.
And it's mad because I would have never thought that. Yeah. But then that stopped me from seeking help because you don't get taken seriously. And I just didn't really know it was a problem. It was just something that I did to control the weight at that time.
So how did you get over that and
handle that?
When I met Jacob. Oh, really?
Yeah. So I first met Jacob. This was like 5 years ago, 5.5. And we were on a date night. And I was like, I just went and made myself sick after we'd went for food. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I just do this to like try and keep the weight off. I was still overweight at the time. And he was like, that's not okay. You can't do that. Whereas my ex kind of never really questioned me. And I was like, oh. And I really got taken aback by him being like concerned. Yeah. And from that moment, I just stopped.
Shit.
Didn't do it again.
So it sounds like you kind of just needed someone to give a fuck.
Yeah.
Someone to know and someone to give a fuck.
Someone actually care. Because the people who knew weren't really that asked. It was just like...
Or they didn't believe you.
Well, yeah, I think it's that.
There's probably a little bit of that, you know. I think that happens with mental health as well.
But if no one's actually seen you do it, they're not really going to think that it's a big concern.
That's interesting. And sometimes anything that's to do with mental health, because it's not visible, people don't...
And because I was overweight, no one's going to be concerned about me. Yeah. They're not going to think, oh, well, she's close to being admitted to hospital because I wasn't. But yeah, it's mad.
Talk to me about some other mistakes you've made.
God, so many mistakes. I think the main ones being in the diet culture industry, all of that. Like I said, it still weighs so kind of heavy on me, and that's why now I kind of put myself out there so much and try and give the correct information out as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, that's cool.
Other mistakes, I think staying with my ex for as long as I did.
I think there's a lot of people who resonate with that.
Yeah, and do you know what? I mean, there's so many things, like everything we went through on like Geordie Shore and things, we made fuckloads of mistakes, like, and just giving people the chance to walk all over you. And that was a huge mistake in like for my own mental health. And dealing with it for that long and just being like completely blind to it, and not even being blind, just turning a blind eye to it, knowing it was going on, but not having the self-respect or the self-love enough to actually think I deserved better, because I genuinely always thought, oh, well, I've slept with people that I fancied when I was single, and that's such a bad thing. Yeah. I was made to believe that was such a bad thing. Well, my ex did. Yeah. He made me feel like it was horrendous. Yeah. Everyone on social media would say, no one's ever going to want to wife that. Yeah. And I believed them for so many years. Yeah. And I thought, God, I really shouldn't have slept with these people.
Well, I think the only difference between you and a lot of other females and even men is that you were just in the public eye.
Exactly. Everyone was doing it at uni.
Everyone pretends they're not doing it because it's not in the public.
Everyone was cheating on the people in production. Like all the production crew were getting with each other. Do you know what I mean? They all had partners. Yeah. But yet, because mine was on TV, all of these people on social media just being like, yeah, no one's going to want to wife that. Yeah. And then just making all these like, just, what's it called? Slut shaming. So I was massively slut shamed for so many years, and then getting with Jacob and him being a footballer and having to go to different football changing rooms and deal with the banter that comes from being with somebody like me. Yeah. He had to have a really, really thick skin, and he just laughs about it. He thinks it's funny. Yeah. But other people really couldn't. They couldn't take the banter that came with being with someone like me. Yeah.
And do you ever struggle now mentally with anything? I mean, your energy's fucking class, by the way. I'm digging your energy. I'm feeling your energy. Do you ever not? You must have. Everyone does, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think anxiety has always been a huge thing for me. Public anxiety, especially, because you know when you walk into a room and you think, "Oh God, everyone's staring," but they actually are. That's usually the case for if we walk anywhere. Yeah. But not so much anymore, doing what I love to do. And I think I've really found that passion in helping other people. Yeah. And that helps me so much. I mean, I don't leave the house very often.
So your focus has became less about you. And look at that, I'm bleeding on your table.
Oh, it's fine, don't worry, it's varnished. That'll just wipe straight off.
Look at this. Wowzers. So you would you say, what I was going to say was, would you say that helping other people has taken a little bit of the attention off you being so much about you?
Massively. And I think I always say to people, when you find that passion, and it usually does include helping people, it gives you that purpose. And before that, I think doing what we do, being in the public eye and just relying on kind of social media posts and club appearances and things like that, it's very surface level. There's nothing really to it. You're not helping anyone, turning up at a club, getting pictures with people. Like, what even is that? And then I think I was lost for a lot of years, and that's kind of where the diet products came into it, and just not really having anything else. And then when I actually put my time and effort into learning something, I don't know many people in the fitness industry, you know, with blue ticks who do have qualifications. They use other trainers who have qualifications, and that information comes from them. And that's all well and good, but I've spent 3 years educating myself to a level where I can personally sit with people one-to-one and know what I'm talking about. And that, to me, like, I should be really proud of that and talk about it more, because not a lot of people have went to that level of effort and do genuinely really care about giving people the education that they deserve.
Yeah, I love it. And it's interesting that you mention anxiety, because I often, obviously I get a lot of people ask me about anxiety. I'm like, I found that I get less anxious when I've got something to stick me teeth into, like something to really get me teeth into, because then it's almost like, people think this is mad when I say it, I almost forget about the anxiety. Do you know what I mean? Because you're only anxious when you're worried about shit, but when you're doing and when you're being, the anxious thoughts, there's nowhere for them to go. There's no room for them. Do you know what I mean? I do this on flights. Everyone's like, oh, Paul, how do you get over them panic attacks on flights? I'm like, I'm just fucking busy. Or my mind's busy. I don't always have to be doing something, but my mind's busy. And I'm like, if my mind's on something, there's no space. And for you, it's nutrition. Learn about nutrition, learn the exercise stuff. There's no space for anxious thoughts to come in.
No. And I think I suffered a lot with like imposter syndrome in the beginning when I was working with my PT Tyler, and it was brilliant. Everything was going well. We were absolutely smashing it, but I had such bad imposter syndrome. And I was like, I'm a business owner, I'm a fitness instructor, and I'm a nutrition coach, but I don't feel like one. And then now that I'm doing this and we've done it from the ground up, I've never felt more comfortable and confident within a role. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Do you feel like your identity shifted a little bit?
100%.
This is what it feels like. I can feel that coming off you, like you've shifted from, what would you say, reality TV star? Influencer?
Yeah, I mean, influencer, we just fell into being an influencer, to be fair, because
that wasn't a thing until...
It wasn't a thing until, you know, a couple of years ago, maybe like 6-7 years ago. I remember I got asked to, for someone to send me a phone case, and all I had to do was post it. I was like, what, you're going to send me a free phone case? And all I have to do is put a picture of it. Yes, send it my way.
I'm still doing that now. Do you know the first thing that I got gifted, right? What? The first thing that I got gifted was cheese.
Stop.
From Eat Lean cheese.
What kind of cheese?
Eat Lean. You must have seen that lean cheese. It's like low-fat cheese.
Right.
And then the same day, I got sent some underpants.
By so a company called dream.
I was Cheesy Underpants. Smuggling Duds, the company were called. They're from Sunderland.
Lovely.
Where they have, check this out, they're called Smuggling Duds because they have a little pocket in where you can keep like condoms, gear, whatever so you smuggle whatever you want in there. Amazing. There you go.
Love that.
And I still, if you want to send me free shit, by the way, I'm more than, what's the weirdest thing you've been sent?
Oh my God, what is the weirdest thing I've been sent? Oh, I'll have to think about that one. I think we got sent them Segways for free before, you know, the
Paul Mort Cop ones. Have you seen that movie, Paul Mort Cop? That's what reminds me of. It's this really bad movie, and the guy goes basically around like a mall, a shopping mall, like the Metro Centre, imagine that, on one of those Segways.
I did enjoy the Segway, but I think you can get very easily injured from the Segway.
You gotta say that is a strange one.
There's so many things, like we've been sent like random food parcels, and you're like, have you put anything in this?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a bit wary.
I've been sent, so those were weird. I've also been sent a full size, human size Hulk Hogan cutout, cardboard cutout. Do you know why that is? Up until last year, so I was 42. On Tuesday, I was 42 actually. So up until my 41st birthday, I told everybody that my birthday was on the same day as Hulk Hogan.
Wait, I think mine is.
Is it?
Is it 7th of the 7th?
Is that August?
No.
It might be. No, that's not August. That's July, isn't it? Yeah. That's July. So we, and then I found out his birthday's in August. Last year. So since I was about fucking 8 years old, I told people that my birthday. So what happened was I found that out and I told a few people. Next thing I know, 41st birthday, I've got 20 Hulk Hogan birthday cards and a full-size Hulk Hogan cutout. And this is the worst part. I was like, I wonder who celebrity is on my birthday. The most famous person was Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh.
It's a bit shit, innit, though, really.
Well, I like Gwyneth Paltrow.
I mean, she's cool in that, but going from Hulk Hogan to Gwyneth Paltrow.
Have you still got the cutout?
Have we still got the cutout, Mark? It got chucked out.
No.
Do you know what I loved about the cutout? At the office, we used to put it near the window and people used to wave thinking it was me. Because you could just see the silhouette of someone. People would be like that.
People used to think I was his daughter before because of the name thing, like Hogan,
shit.
Yeah.
Well, I get Raoul Mort comments, remember him?
Yeah.
I get comments like that all the time. I'm like, mate.
Not ideal.
People comment on ads and that. I'm like, mate, it's clearly not the same. Do you know what I mean? You've just demonstrated your level of intelligence. Yeah. Oh, it's not Raoul. It looks like Raoul Mort. I'm like, but it doesn't, does it?
Blind.
The letters are fucking different, mate. So what's next for you guys?
I think what's next for us, well, we are going to try and take this business to wherever we can possibly get it. I think it's hard, though. I think when you try and think about scaling a business, you lose that personability with people. Always, you're always going to lose that. And it's difficult for us because we really want to keep that balance between having the lives and doing the one-to-ones
and growing
things
it.
like that, and being able to grow it. And I think we will kind of put some packages out there that people can just buy, because not many people can work out 4 days a week at 6:15
at the same time.
At the same time. Yeah. It's not, we have people from Australia, we have people from Belgium and Netherlands.
Got people with kids.
Got people with
kids. Is that what time you're doing at 6:15 a.m.? That is fucking gangster shit.
I get up at 5:30. 4 days a week. I know.
Jesus, that's mad.
But you know what? I feel good for it.
Yeah.
And I get up, I get my steps done. My steps are done by 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And then my day is mine then.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and my mental health from it, because I am really bad with fitness on my own anyway. So I was saying to the group, I was like, you guys give me accountability.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, because if I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't just do this just to exercise. Yeah, I'd go on the walk pad and stuff, but trying to actually go to the gym and get things done, I find it difficult, and that's why I wanted to provide something that I knew would help others.
And sometimes, Holly, I think working out at home is even harder.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, in that lockdown, I'm like, I'm not fucking working out in my front room.
But when you've got a group of people you've got everyone. All right, we might not be...
Because you're not on your own anymore. You're kind of not on your own anymore.
Exactly.
And there's something powerful about that. I think people need a tribe of... And I say this to my guys all the time. I'm like, there's no such thing as a self-made man or woman. I think your peer group matters.
100%.
And I say to people, you'll either lower your, because of this law of conformity, right? I think we either lower our standards to fit in with the peer group. I think that's why a lot of people drink when they don't want to. I'm like, you're just trying to get their approval. Yeah. So you'll either lower your standards, or in your case, people are raising their standards to fit in with the peer group. So I'm like, there's nothing that I can think of that's much more powerful than being around people who are fucking moving in the same direction as you. Because a lot of the people in your life, and this is not because they're bad people, it's just because they're into different stuff, they're going in the other direction. And I think you can waste so much energy on trying to drag them with you. Oh, well, you should go vegan as well. Oh, well, you should go carnivore diet as well. And then you just end up in arguments with people that you love just because they fucking eat meat.
I know.
Or just because, like, I'm very wary of this. So I'm 9 months, 5 days booze free or something. I'm not boozing this year. But I'm very wary that I don't want to sound like a fucking vegan CrossFit. I want to talk about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm very aware. Oh, but you shouldn't. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
I'm almost like, part of us wants to tell people because I'm proud and I feel so good and I would love them to feel like this. But part of us is like, I don't want to sound like I'm a preaching fucker.
Of course.
You know what I mean? It's a strange thing, isn't it?
And I don't drink. People think that I would drink. I'd be a massive drinker.
So is that not your thing anymore?
Drink's never been my thing, even in Geordie Shore. Like, yes, we would drink, but I would come out of the house. Night outs weren't really my thing.
Oh, really?
Like, I didn't really enjoy going to places. I like to go for food. I don't mind having a couple of cocktails,
but
I'd much prefer to, like, come home and be in bed at a reasonable time and not feel like shit.
So partying's not you?
Partying's not.
Is that old you?
That's old me. I mean, I used to go and party a lot of times when I was younger, but I think it's always to mask something else. Like, what am I trying to block out? Like, Monday is my favourite day of the week because we're getting up and we've got a new week. Whereas I used to always look forward to the weekends to just block out what I was doing in the week, so to forget something. And I live the life that I've always wanted to live now. And I think I don't need to drink to feel shit for a week after it.
So could you go to a party and not drink?
100%, yeah.
Could you?
Yeah. So there's a lot of times when my friends will meet up in Manchester and I'll be like, oh, I'm not drinking, and I'll just drive.
Do they give you any?
Nah.
Not give you anything?
They don't even know. Like, I go and I'll be like, oh, I'm driving home now. They're like, you be careful now. You've had a few drinks. I was like, I'm not drink.
Do you know what I think the difference is sometimes? Sometimes when you tell people, they'll give you shit. But also if you don't tell them, I've found out, and I thought it would be awful, but I've actually found out that I have a better time if I don't drink. My energy's higher. I'm not constantly looking for can I get a bag? Can I get one dropped off? Do you know what I mean? I'm not thinking about that. I can stay up later, which is the weirdest thing. I don't want to just fuck off back to my hotel room or fuck off back home. I'm in the thing, and then you can just drop a smoke bomb. Yeah. Like just go and nobody even notices you've gone sometimes.
Not really much different to like I know who I am in myself now.
If it looks like you're having a shit time, that's when people will get on you, I think.
And they'll be like, why aren't you drinking?
Enjoy yourself, man. I'm like, but when you're all enjoying yourself, then nobody even knows.
I just like the company. I just like chatting. If my friends are here and they want to drink, they came round. My friends came round. I think it was Saturday, and they were drinking all night. I had 1 or 2 glasses of champagne, and that was it.
I mean, that's impressive.
And I'm just like, I still stayed up with them all night. I still danced around the kitchen all night. But I didn't need to continue to drink alcohol. I still felt like shit the next day after the 2 glasses of champagne.
Really?
So I felt awful.
I get a little bit like that, you know. So I'll very rarely I'll get these alcohol-free beers, and after 3 or 4, I'm like, I'm a bit rough.
Yeah,
the next morning, I feel rough because whatever's in them still can't be that good
Placebo?
for you. It's weird, isn't it? It's strange. Would you go on TV again?
100%.
Would you?
Yeah, I think in the mindset, well, we've just done the reunion actually, so our reunion show's out now, and it's brilliant because that shows us all meeting up again after like 10, 12 years.
How was that?
It was brilliant.
Was it?
It was, honestly, my ex ended up coming out.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah. So my ex came out quite late on.
So was it only the people from the first season, not everyone?
No, like anyone. I think everyone was invited.
Sophie was on it, right?
Sophie was on it. Everyone was invited, and people who had kind of spent more time, had bigger storylines, were invited to like the bulk of it, which was in Portugal. Yeah. So we're in Portugal, and my ex comes out, and bear in mind I've not seen him for like 6 years. Didn't exactly leave on like great terms, like narcissistic sociopath tendencies. But it was nice because I was like, he came in, he was a completely different person. He's got a missus and a baby now. And he was just like, I realised for the first time in my life, I'm not the most important person in the world. And he was just so honest with me about everything. And it really was like a full circle moment of this closure. And we really closed that book on everything that had happened.
That what?
Book.
Okay.
Yeah. Not book. We'd closed the book on everything that happened, and I didn't know that I needed that closure. Yeah. But I did, because every time I thought about him, every time someone would mention his name, I only had bad things to say about him. But now, after us having that conversation, nobody gets to do that with their ex 6 years on. Nobody gets to have that
no, they don't,
conversation.
You're right. And normally they're blocking that, aren't they? They're blocked.
Yeah, they're blocked, deleted, gone for life. And if you bump into them in the supermarket, you turn your back and run away. Yeah. But not many people get the opportunity to do what we did, and it was. And
you know what, really though, as well. You know what, as well, though, Holly. Not many people would have the courage to do what you did either.
I didn't have a choice.
Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't have the courage to be like, oh, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
I'm not going there because it'll bring up all these negative feelings. Did that happen?
There was certainly some like weird feelings that came up, but because he was being so open and honest about everything, and he was just a completely different person to the person he was then, I was really able to actually forgive him for everything he'd done and understand that he was just a young lad and he didn't really know what was going on. I was his ticket to the show, and he admitted that. And then his job's getting taken away from him because we've broken up. He was acting like a dick. I'm crying about it. He's got kicked off and everything's just spiraling. He's then got no job.
And you're young as fuck. We
were 22.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my God, like we went through all of that. But yeah, we closed the book on that. And then the next episode, me and Jacob are in Ibiza getting married.
I mean, and
it's just beautiful, like how everything turned out for me on that series. I couldn't have gone any better for me.
Are you getting TV offers? Is there any TV offers came in?
I never get TV offers.
Do you not?
I get absolutely nothing.
Really?
And I think, I don't know what it is because I'm really funny.
You guys that are watching, there'll be someone out there. Yeah.
I think with Geordie Shore, they want people to be single and they want that Geordie Shore vibe. Yeah. Whereas because I'm now married in a really stable relationship, the drama aspect that they can get from me isn't there.
Well, they're not going to want to film you sitting around drinking cups of tea.
But I am actually really funny.
Yeah. I mean, I've laughed at least two jokes.
I know, and I don't know why I don't get more offers, but I understand, they like to have people who have been on like ITV and who've done Love Island, who are a little bit more wholesome. Yeah. I think potentially once we've had children, I may be looked at in a different light and maybe looked at as a bit more like pre-Watershed TV, but apart from that, Geordie Shore always get looked down on, and it's just one of those things. Yeah.
Would you, what show would you love to do?
So I'd love to be able to have the balls to do I'm a Celeb, but I would be full-blown Gillian McKeith.
Oh, really?
Would
you?
Yeah.
You telling me you wouldn't eat a kangaroo's arsehole?
Oh, I could do that easily.
The eating part.
But put a spider on me, I am going to...
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that. I would have to get some kind of like hypnosis
really?
beforehand. I'd love to be able to say I could do it. I did get offered Bear Grylls, actually. I'd tell a lie.
Oh, did you?
And I said no, because I think if you're going to go on there and you're going to act like a fucking wimp, no one's going to care. They're going to laugh at you. You're going to be... I couldn't do it, and I knew I didn't.
Was it at the island thing or something?
It was.
Or where he just takes you out?
I did have an interview for the island. I had the Bear Grylls, the island, and then it was SAS.
Oh, was it?
That's what I'm talking about.
And would you do that?
No, I turned it down because I was like, "There's no way I am an absolute wimp.
God.
If they're going to shout at me, I'm going to
almost
cry."
all of the DS on there as well.
So
and the class.
I think Amber went on it, didn't she? And she acted
Well,
exactly.
Vicky's been on it.
And Vicky did.
Vicky
really
had
well.
a nightmare on it.
Oh, did she?
She said she hated it.
But Vicky's very strong, she's very strong.
I said that though. I said you are very competitive. I've noticed that about her.
No,
she's
she is
competitive as fuck.
She's competitive. She's got a really strong mind.
Yeah.
She can really get in. Even when we used to train with her, she'd always be the one who'd be able to do more mentally. She had it, and I
can't believe that you turned that down.
I don't have it. I don't have it in the locker, and if I did, I would do it.
What's mad is how do you know?
I know, I'm very self-aware.
No, like if you went on, imagine you could prove yourself completely wrong.
I couldn't, because they'd shout at me and I cry. I don't want to be
like
that
right
girl.
in your face like that.
I couldn't do it, and I'd love to be able to do it. I'd love if I could turn myself into the person who could do it. Mm-hmm. But I think you just got to know that it's not for you.
That's interesting. I'm
not going to bullshit anyone and be like, yeah, I could do that, I could win it. I couldn't.
Yeah. Would you do MasterChef?
What am I going to cook? Protein pancakes? What could I do on
Or
MasterChef?
A salad.
I mean, I do a very
well,
good
fucking
Sunday
hell.
dinner.
Mate, I've seen some of these fuckers that go in on the celebrity one. I'm like, has this guy cooked anything before?
I could do a good Sunday roast. I could do my own
and
Yorkshire
then,
pudding.
so you'd be all right in the first round?
Yeah.
And then you'd be dead.
I could probably do bake off for like the first round, but I'm not very neat. Like it tastes good. Presentation's absolutely terrible.
Is it?
Yeah.
And would you leave a mess on the thing?
Horrendous.
Wow.
I'd love to do Dancing on Ice, but it'd probably be more like Bambi on Ice. And I think the easiest one to do is probably, I've heard that it's Strictly, but
really?
I'm an anxious fucking mess. How would I walk out into that stadium in front of people? I'd have a panic attack.
I mean, fucking hell, mate. Trust us, I've known Chris Ramsey a long time. If that motherfucker's getting to the finals with his rhythm and that, anyone can do that.
It's just...
And don't all get fucking jacked on it as well, don't they? Don't all get in great shape and that.
And you can eat what you want because you're working out all the time. But I can do anything that's not live, really. And I can do anything that doesn't involve spiders, physical exertion. So I'm not really left with a lot.
I wanted to ask you a question because I didn't ask Aaron this, and I didn't ask Vicky this, and I didn't ask Sam Gowland this.
And you really want to ask a question?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you. I keep forgetting to ask it. Was Geordie Shore scripted?
No.
No, not scripted
not a
at
single
all.
Bit. So when people talk about, we found the Geordie Shore script, and I was like, oh God, it's literally a list of talking points.
Right.
So you know how you've got a list of talking points?
Yes.
When you're filming something, you need to have a list of points to hit. So when this script would be found, it would be from, night before, Holly, Vicky, Charlotte, Sophie.
So they obviously have to have questions to ask you as well, though, right?
Yeah. So
when you're doing what's that called? When you do that thing where there's just you on the camera? What's that called?
The green screen.
The green screen.
Yeah, so we have like lists of points to talk about. We have obviously the script is just what we've done the night before. So it's conversations we've already had.
Yeah.
We've just got to pick up talking about them again.
Yeah.
So any script that people have found, it's a list of talking
So
points.
it's like, you know what happened last night? This happened.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. They will try and coerce situations and things like that. They're very clever.
I think Aaron might have said that. That kind of set you up in like a triggering situation that they know is
100%.
going to piss you off.
So my ex would be sent away to a pool party, for example, while I'd be sent to work, and they wouldn't be allowed to leave until they'd got like girls' numbers and things like that. So it was kind of coerced in that sense, but they've still got free will.
I mean,
everything that I said was from my own mouth, and I wanted to say it.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I'd love to say that it was acting, actually.
I'm trying to get my friend Luke Online. He plays for Sunderland, right? I'm trying to get him on the podcast, and he's like, mate, I can't
get the time.
I'm like, what? People think they finish work at 1 o'clock. He says, no, we're doing these appearances and we've got to go to this school and we're travelling. He said last week they were in London for the whole week. They were away for the whole week.
It's just, it's very, to be an athlete, I think it's a lot of work, and I've seen him go through so much shit mentally. Like, wow, the things that I've seen in that
can't drink,
industry.
they've missed their fucking childhood because they couldn't go out with their mates and that.
Everything. And it's a big sacrifice, and I think, you know, he really, really acts like a pro. Even now to this day, he's 30, he still acts like a pro in football, and he still does everything he possibly can to keep himself fit, and he doesn't go out, doesn't really drink. We have like 2 nights out a year. Thankfully, we're both on the same wavelength. But yeah, it's just, honestly, the mental strain from it.
I see the shit that footballers get on social media. I'm like, if it's that easy, they're like, all these over. I'm like, why the fuck aren't you doing it then? If it's easy, why the fuck aren't you doing it?
And I want to go mad on Twitter sometimes, and Jacob's like, just don't, because it's just fun.
I hate Twitter.
Yeah,
Twitter is a fucking cesspit.
Mine's overrun by like porn accounts now. So
is it?
Yeah, it's really bad. Every time I look at the feed, it says, let's get acquainted, and you click on it, and it's just someone getting bummed.
Oh, really?
Horrendous. I'll show you.
I'm all right.
You all right?
Mate, I'm all right. You don't have to show us. That's a picture that's in my head now.
I mean, there's vagina on there as well.
It's not just buttholes.
No.
Well, all right. We're finishing on shit.
Yeah.
So, Holly Hagan-Blyth. Holly Hagan-Blyth, thank you so much for talking shit with me today. Thank you.
Thanks for letting me.